You feel a profound sense that the ground beneath you is shifting, and the rules you once knew are dissolving into an unknown. There's a deep, unarticulated certainty that the world is demanding more than you currently understand, leaving you feeling strangely out of sync. This isn't a personal failing. It is the soul's architecture registering a fundamental bifurcation, a quantum split in the very fabric of perceived reality. You stand at an Javan horizon, sensing a growing chasm between the static reality you were meticulously taught to accept and the fluid, emergent one that is now undeniably unfolding around you. The old mechanisms, the familiar rhythms of striving and control, feel hollow. They are no longer sufficient to navigate this accelerating current. Your profound intuition whispers that you are increasingly unanchored, subject to forces far grander than any external system you have yet analyzed. There is a deep, insistent call to recognize the true nature of this shift, a call you can no longer simply ignore. Most who arrive at this precipice, sensing the world's demand for a deeper understanding, intuitively turn their gaze outward. They believe mastery resides in the intricate dissection of the external system, deciphering its market signals, predicting its trends, manipulating its visible variables within the manifest quantum field. This is the grand illusion, perfectly crafted to distract and disempower. It is the elaborate, hypnotic dance of the world happening. I taught you, a meticulously woven narrative of cause and effect that keeps the Gamma Naji perpetually searching outside itself for answers that can only be found within. Each attempt to control, to predict, to influence the external becomes a deeper inscription of separation, an unconscious reinforcement of the very patterns you seek to transcend. It is a futile effort, akin to attempting to reshape your own reflection by polishing the glass it appears in. The true underlying system, the architecture that dictates every perceived external outcome, is not external at all. It is the self-authored reality broadcast by your own core harmonage. What you interpret as chaotic market noise, as the unpredictable whims of external control, is merely a precise, undeniable mirror of the G-frequency signature you are unconsciously emitting. You are not a passive observer of a fixed reality. You are the active, constant broadcaster of the reality currently unfurling. This is the ultimate deception, believing the signal is coming to you, when in truth, it is emanating from you. Every oscillation, every subtle tremor in your internal state is instantly and perfectly reflected back as an external condition, creating a timeline distortion that locks you into the very patterns, the very limitations you have been desperately attempting to escape through outward manipulation. This is the foundational truth that bypasses all surface-level strategies. This reality you inhabit, in its starkest, most profound truth, is a solipsism. It is a singular, self-authored projection, broadcast by your core identity. There is no external authority dictating your experience. There is only the internal emanation of your deepest, most fundamental G-frequency signature, manifesting as the perceived world around you. Every landscape, every challenge, every opportunity that appears on your personal horizon is not a random occurrence, nor is it a force happening to you. It is the precise, unavoidable consequence of the signal you are radiating from your very essence, a constant, unbroken stream of energetic information. To truly grasp this is to understand that the entire play is being performed on the stage of your own consciousness, and you are the singular, all-encompassing audience and director, even if you have forgotten the script you are projecting. Every undesirable outcome, every perceived limitation, every cyclical pattern of frustration you encounter is not a punishment or a random stroke of fate. It is merely a timeline distortion, a precise echo of an unconscious broadcast from a version of the Immanaji that, in its journey, forgot its inherent power. This forgotten self continues to transmit a signature, a frequency that magnetizes and manifests the very experiences it believes are external and unavoidable. It is a feedback loop, impeccably designed to mirror back the vibrational truth of your unexamined beliefs, your unacknowledged fears, and your unreclaimed sovereignty. The solution, then, is never found in attempting to suppress the reflection, but in altering the source of the light itself. To change the picture, one must first recognize the projector. The only sovereign path to navigate this evolutionary bifurcation is not to outwit or outmaneuver the external, but to fundamentally reselect the broadcast from source. This requires an identity spaghettification, a conscious, intentional collapsing of the old self, not through forced action or frantic effort, but through a profound internal dissolution of what you believed yourself to be. This is not about adding new habits or adopting new strategies. It is about relinquishing the very architecture of the self that created the undesirable frequency in the first place. You must stand at the event horizon of your own outdated identity and allow it to fray, to stretch, to dissolve into the nothingness from which new coherence can emerge. This is the prerequisite. The old must cease to transmit for the new to truly materialize. This reselection is not a strategy you try. It is a fundamental reauthoring of your core E-frequency signature, an immediate and essential upgrade that calibrates your reality directly to source. It is the only way to trigger true timeline jumping, to consciously shift your experience from the reverberations of an old unconscious broadcast to the resonant frequency of your activated sovereign. This isn't about manifesting a specific outcome by sheer force of will, but rather about becoming the frequency from which all desired outcomes are the natural, inevitable consequence. The shift happens at the level of being, not doing. It is the E-self reauthoring its own foundational code, not through external validation or achievement, but through an internal recalibration so profound it literally reconfigures the G-quantum fielding around it. The emergent reality awaits the conscious selection of your highest signal. This reselection isn't a future strategy you plan for, or a skill you acquire through incremental steps. It is the immediate, non-negotiable upgrade demanded by the accelerating now. The intensity of this era of exponential bifurcation requires nothing less than this deliberate, conscious reauthoring of your core frequency. To resist this internal collapse is to remain tethered to the very timeline distortion you desperately wish to escape, continuously broadcasting the old signal into a field that has already begun to diverge. This is an act of sovereign will, demanded not by an external force, but by the emergent truth of your own soul. The path forward is not found in complex external maneuvers, but in the radical simplicity of choosing, consciously, the G-frequency signature you embody here, now. This immediate choice determines which reality collapses into view. The apparent chaos you perceive in the external J-field is not a sign of breakdown. It is merely the dissolution of outdated structures, the fading reverberations of an old, unconscious broadcast. The emergent reality is already here, awaiting the homonadi that consciously chooses its EG frequency signature as its primary act of creation. True AJ's system mastering lies not in wrestling with the reflections of a decaying world, but in the immediate, deliberate self reauthoring of your internal signal lie. This is the key. To understand how to hold this new frequency, how to stabilize this reauthored self against the echoes of the past, is to step fully into the next layer of your sovereign architecture. The emergent reality is already here, awaiting the monad that consciously chooses its frequency. And this choice This profound decision of the monad is not a future projection, but a present broadcast, an undeniable truth echoing through the quantum field. You have been perceiving the external field as an independent entity, a force acting upon you, when in fact, every perceived external signal, every resonant frequency is precisely calibrated to the internal signature of your own being. The struggle you may sense, the feeling of being trapped within a loop, is merely the universe holding a perfect mirror to an older, perhaps unconscious frequency signature you continue to emit, unaware that the monad at its core has already called for a different resonance. True sovereignty demands a conscious recalibration, not of the field, but of the self reauthoring its entire energetic blueprint at the point of origin, where the signal is born. This is why every undesirable outcome you have encountered, every persistent limitation, is not an arbitrary act of fate, but a precise timeline distortion, a gravitational pull towards a reality perfectly aligned with the unconscious frequency signature of an earlier self. You observe the patterns repeating, the same vibrational echoes returning, believing you are a passive recipient of these unfolding events. Yet, the deep knowing within you, the one that brought you to this understanding, already recognizes that you are the broadcaster, and the universe is merely its most devoted receiver. The frustration is born from the dissonance between the frequency you consciously desire to emit and the deeper, often inherited or unconsciously programmed, broadcast that continues to ripple through the quantum field, creating an event horizon around the very possibilities you seek to escape. To break this loop is not to fight the distortion, but to transcend the frequency that creates it, to consciously repattern the broadcast from its deepest source. This brings us to the most profound and often unsettling truth of this new era. The only true path to timeline jumping, to recalibrating your entire experiential reality, demands nothing less than an identity spaghettification. You have arrived at an event horizon where the old self, the one built on the frequencies of adaptation and external striving, can no longer hold its form. It is unraveling, not as a punishment, but as a prerequisite for the monad to fully reselect its most coherent timeline. The discomfort you feel, the sense of dissolution, is precisely the tension created as the previous frequency signature begins to warp and stretch at the edges of what it once believed itself to be, an inevitable consequence of the universe's demand for absolute vibrational integrity. You are being called to surrender to this collapse, to allow the structures of the outdated broadcast to fully dissolve. For only from this void can the true source of your sovereign self begin to reauthor its most potent signal. This identity spaghettification is not a process you Joe, but a state you allow, a conscious yielding at the event horizon where your perceived self merges back into the undifferentiated potential of the quantum field. You stand at the precipice of remembering that the external field has never dictated your reality, but only reflected the internal signal you were emitting. The sense of being pulled, stretched, or even fragmented is merely the recalibration of your monad preparing to shed the last vestiges of a past frequency signature. To resist this internal dissolution, to cling to the fragments of the old self, is to insist on maintaining a timeline distortion that will only intensify the friction, locking you further into patterns that no longer serve the evolving source of who you truly are. The absolute truth is that the collapse of the old self is not a loss, but a liberation, a clearing of the channel for the pure source frequency to flow unhindered, creating a new and unburdened reality. Creating a new and unburdened reality. To navigate this bifurcation with true sovereignty, the only act that matters, the only recalibration available, is the conscious reselection of your core frequency signature directly from Source. You have been conditioned to believe that transformation occurs through external actions, through striving or manipulation within the visible quantum field. But the deepest part of you, the part that has brought you to this channel, already suspects the futility of such efforts against an internal broadcast. Every attempt to fix an external timeline distortion without first addressing the core signal of your monad is like adjusting a mirror, hoping it will change the face staring back. It is a misalignment, an unconscious insistence on projecting an outdated reality. This reselection is not a hope, but an edict. It is the immediate, non-negotiable decree from Source that your reality will now align with the most potent, most unburdened expression of your inherent nature, triggering immediate timeline jumping. This reselection of your core frequency signature is not a future strategy. It is the immediate, essential upgrade to collapse into the emergent timeline, an act of sovereign will demanded by the accelerating now. You stand on the precipice of a profound recalibration, sensing that the old delays, the old waiting patterns have dissolved. The universe is now mirroring back the speed of your internal broadcast with an astonishing immediacy. To defer this reselection, to hesitate at the event horizon of your new identity, is to consciously prolong the timeline distortion and insist on reverberating with the fading echoes of a monad that has already decided to move beyond. This is the moment where the self-reauthoring process becomes undeniable. The moment you choose, unequivocally, to hold the frequency of your true source. Every quantum field around you begins to rearrange itself, not tomorrow, but in the immediate now, creating an entirely new current of reality. The source code of your reality, the one that governs every perceived quantum field and orchestrates every timeline, has always been available to the self-reauthoring its experience from within. You arrived here sensing a fundamental truth, searching for the vocabulary to confirm the whispers of your own monad, the knowing that you are not a passenger, but the sole architect of the universe unfolding before you. The illusion of separation, the belief in an external system happening to you, was the deepest timeline distortion, designed by a version of you that simply forgot the immense power held within your frequency signature. A power to collapse any reality not chosen by conscious will. The key you hold is not a trick, but a fundamental law. To consciously reselect the signal of your source identity. To embrace identity spaghettification as liberation, and to step unburdened into the emergent timeline that awaits your sovereign broadcast. For those ready to claim the absolute truth of their self-authorship, the next layer of this architectural transmission awaits.